Hey there, welcome to my channel. It's me, and today we have an exciting challenge for you. Are you ready? This is a classic riddle that many of us love. It goes like this. There once was a man who owned a talking parrot. The man passed away and left his estate to his wife. In his will, he requested to be buried with his parrot, which was rather odd, but not impossible. So the wife went ahead and did it. She arranged for her husband's funeral and had his coffin placed in the family plot. Just before they lowered the coffin into the grave, she opened it to take one last look at her beloved husband. But to her horror, the parrot was missing. The wife panicked, thinking the bird had escaped or perhaps been stolen. But when she looked around, she realized that the parrot was sitting on the edge of the coffin, seemingly unaffected by the situation. And then it said to her, "Don't lower the coffin just yet." The wife, confused and frightened, asked the parrot what it wanted. The bird replied, "I want to be buried with him." The wife thought about it for a moment. Of course, she didn't want the parrot to be buried alive, but she also didn't want to go back on her husband's wishes. So she asked the parrot, "How deep should the coffin be lowered?" The parrot responded, "Just lower the coffin to planks of wood." The wife agreed and watched as the gravediggers lowered the coffin accordingly. After everything was finished, she went home, still puzzled by the parrot's behavior. The next day, she returned to the cemetery to check on the grave. To her surprise, the parrot was nowhere to be found, and upon closer inspection, she discovered that the coffin had also vanished. All that remained was the hole in the ground where it had been buried. The wife immediately contacted the police and told them about the strange events that had transpired. However, the officers found the entire situation rather ludicrous and refused to investigate. They told her that it was obviously a case of a stolen parrot and that she should just buy another one. The wife, however, knew that something else was going on here. She had loved her husband dearly and couldn't bear the thought that he might have been taken advantage of in his final moments. Determined to uncover the truth, she took matters into her own hands. She began by visiting all the local pet stores and bird sanctuaries, inquiring about a talking parrot that might have been brought in. But her search came up empty. Days turned into weeks, but the wife refused to give up. She hired a private investigator, and together they scoured the city looking for any clue that could lead them to the missing parrot and her husband E's coffin. Finally, after months of searching, they got a break. A witness came forward and said they had seen a group of men carrying a large, heavy object near the river. The men had been acting suspiciously and had tried to cover their tracks. The private investigator wasted no time and immediately took the lead on this new development. He gathered a team and set out to the riverbank. Their search was long and arduous, but just as they were about to give up hope, they spotted something peculiar in the muddy water. Half submerged under the water, they found the missing coffin. With great effort, they pulled it out, and to their amazement, the parrot was perched on top of it, still alive and seemingly unharmed. The wife couldn't believe her eyes. She rushed to the coffin and threw her arms around it, tears streaming down her face. Then she turned to the parrot and asked, "Where is he?" The parrot looked at her for a moment, then motioned with its beak toward the river. The wife understood. With the help of the others, she pried open the lid and peered inside. There, lying peacefully, was her husband's body. The weight of the coffin had been too much for the wood to bear, and it had cracked open during its long journey. The sight of her husband's remains brought a wave of grief and anger over the wife. She vowed to find out who was responsible for this heinous crime and bring them to justice. The police were called and an investigation was launched. It turned out that the men who had stolen the coffin and the body were a gang of grave robbers. They had planned to sell the body to a medical school, but their operation was compromised when the parrot refused to leave the coffin. Desperate to get rid of the bird, they had thrown it into the river, but it had managed to survive. Once the mastermind behind the plot was arrested, the wife demanded to know why the grave robbers had targeted her husband. It turned out that he had accidentally stumbled upon the gang's activities while taking his evening stroll. To silence him, they had poisoned him, but because it was summer, his body hadn't decomposed as quickly as they had anticipated. Fearing that someone might come forward and claim the body, they decided to steal it and sell it to the medical school. The mastermind had hoped that the parrot would fly away, but it had stayed with the body, making the theft more difficult than they had anticipated. As for the parrot, it was given to the wife and it lived out its remaining days in luxury, being fed only the finest seeds and fruits and allowed to roam freely in the house. It became a cherished member of the family, reminding them of the tragic ordeal they had endured. The story serves as a reminder that greed and desperation can lead even the most rational people to commit the most heinous crimes. The parrot, on the other hand, emerged as a symbol of loyalty and love, proving that sometimes, even in the darkest of times, hope and companionship can prevail. Now it's your turn to solve the case. What do you think happened to the talking parrot at the end of the story? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this tale intriguing and would like to embark on more thrilling adventures with us, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on our latest releases. Until then, keep being awesome and stay tuned for more captivating content. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye.